Hi everyone, welcome back to Call Your Friends. We're your friends, Lauren and Maddie, and you're listening to part 2 of our university episode. It was so long, we had so much to say, we had to break it up into 2 episodes. So, yeah, we hope you enjoy.
So let's get into our notes. I'm just going to run through this, and then Lauren, you can ask any questions that come up. All right, so first thing to discuss is choosing a roommate. This is something that, I did before I went to school. I chose a roommate. I think we connected in like a Facebook group, which, that really dates me. But now you could connect like on Instagram or TikTok. I don't know. But then I had a tragic story. Basically, what happened is my mom didn't pay my residence payment on time, so I got kicked out of residence. So my roommate situation totally was foiled, or my plan, I guess you could say. So I got put in this residence at a different university or like college that's part of my university.
It's like
Lauren
a different
knows what I'm talking
campus.
about.
Yeah.
It's a different campus, but it's just like across the street, so it wasn't that dramatic. But at the time, I was truly devastated because I had planned to live with this girl, and I was really upset. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be put with someone I don't know, like my worst nightmare. But then, you know what? It actually worked out perfectly fine because she was really cool. But if I was giving advice, I would say live with someone that you kind of know, that you like have heard good things about or know like on a surface level, but you're not best friends with. Because if you live with your best friend, you will feel like you need to do everything together, and you might find out that you're like a little bit limited by them. And also, I think that living with someone is really hard, especially in like a 200 square foot dorm room. So you might actually end up like not ruining your friendship, but having some friendship difficulties that you might not have even with your best friend if you were like not living together. So I think that someone that you know but aren't like BFFs with is the most ideal situation.
So you don't think that you should just like request to be randomly placed with a roommate?
You could. It's definitely more risky. I've heard a lot of people that like really didn't get along with their roommates, even though you have to put like your preferences and stuff. I think there's a lot of personality factors that really go into choosing or like I guess having someone that you really vibe with in a living situation. I just got so lucky that my roommate was really cool, and we're not really friends anymore. Like we don't keep in touch, but we're in the same like larger friend group, which is funny. Like my friend Sid always sees her out, and she's just like a really cool girl. So I think that that was lucky, but not the norm.
Interesting. And what do you think if you have the choice to choose between having a roommate or not having a roommate? What would you suggest?
I would say probably not having a roommate as long as you're in like a traditional style university dorm where everyone has like you're in a hallway with rooms, like I don't know how else to explain it, like no kitchen, anything like that, because yeah, that's the only way that you'll really meet people. I think if you're like in a kitchen apartment style room, like you might not meet people as well.
Okay. Perfect. Those are
So
all of
I
my
would,
roommate questions, I think.
yeah, I would also suggest probably like a traditional res, even though they get really gross and like it's loud and annoying, but you'll meet a lot of people and it'll be probably the most fun.
Yeah, I feel like it would be difficult to, it's hard to resist, the idea of having your own bathroom, maybe like your own kitchen, little kitchenette. That sounds very appealing, but I do get what you mean that it would be difficult to meet people if it wasn't the kind of residence where everyone just has their doors open, or if they're not open, like, close. Like you're close to your neighbors.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I had any friends who lived in apartment style residences. So that kind of just shows like I think that most of the people that I know lived in traditional reses. And like they suck. To be honest, they're pretty disgusting. And if you're a person like I'm a pretty high maintenance person, I like it to be quiet and clean. So I was really sick of it by the end, but I was really happy that I went because I think I met my friends in the first year, and that's kind of like the people that I stuck with for my entire university experience. So I was grateful for that. All right, moving on. So you're moving to university. It's like September 5th or whatever, and you're driving to school. You got your parents maybe helping you out. So what do you bring, and how do you actually like pack or I guess unpack your room and get everything ready? So my tips are number one, less is more. I told this to Lauren when she was moving into boarding school this year. Maybe make a friend with a car if you don't have one. I don't think most people have cars in first year, but I think that having someone with a car nearby is great because if you need like, I think I bought like a full length mirror in first year and like a little mini fridge. Those are things that you can get later, but you should get someone with a car that can take you to buy them.
I would agree. And I also think that you will figure out what you need when you get there and you realize that you don't have it. Like this year I moved in with, I don't know, I had my sheets. I brought my clothes from home. I bought a mattress topper. That one like probably wasn't an essential, but it felt like an essential, you know? And everyone from the years before had suggested it. So I would say a mattress topper was a good buy for me. But otherwise, like, okay, I probably didn't need the 5 IKEA plates and 5 glasses and the cutlery set that I brought. But everything else, I think, like, I didn't bring much else. Only the stuff that I really, really needed.
You'll figure it out pretty quickly, and it's not hard to get stuff, especially now with Amazon and stuff. Like, don't worry about that. I think also that will save you money because you probably will overbuy if you buy everything before. I think universities usually will send out a list that has like way too much stuff on it, and you'll probably waste money if you buy all that because then you'll never use it, like your plates, for example.
Hey,
I think
okay, I thought like maybe I would have a dinner party in my little room. I haven't yet.
I think I told you you don't need those plates.
I haven't had a dinner party yet, but there's still time. I think it'll happen before the end of the year for sure.
Okay, well, we'll see. I think also a good thing to check is if your building has an elevator. I don't think ours had an elevator, so I was like running up and down the stairs with all my stuff, kind of a hassle. Also, see if your building has air conditioning, because if not, depending on where you live, you might want to get like a little fan for your room. It gets kind of hot. Let me see what else. Oh, I made a list of essential items that I'll share with you guys. I wrote flip-flops for the shower, slippers, laundry bag, shower caddy, a mattress pad. The beds are really uncomfortable from my experience. Advil and like basic medication, like allergy stuff if you get allergies. Some water bottles, laundry detergent. And personally, I would not bring a lot of like decor because, you know, I'm a minimalist.
Oh my.
Not actually, but I don't like a lot of like stuff on the walls. That's personal preference, but I would probably do that later, if anything. And then also...
on the decor point, I would say if you are going to be randomly paired with a roommate, you might want to like coordinate your decor once you get there. Maybe talk to them, see what you guys are both interested in having in your room, and then order it. Just so you don't both order stuff and then show up and have it totally clash.
For sure. And then lastly, I would say don't bring too many clothes because there's barely any space. So bring what you need, and then maybe if your parents are nice, they'll like send you some more stuff or, you know, come and drop it off for you if you live close. So I think that less is more.
Were there any organizers that you bought? Or like for the closet, I'm thinking especially, do you need hangers? Do you need something to throw over the door to put your shoes in? Was any of that helpful to you?
I think you can probably look up online like what the room looks like and see what they have because I think our closet had like built-in shelves, so then there was no space. But I think definitely check, and if your parents or like someone is dropping you off, you can go like bring your stuff up and then maybe run to like an IKEA or whatever the American version of like Home Sense. I think it's called Home Goods, something like that. You can run there and just grab stuff quickly. Once you see like the setup of your room and maybe meet your roommate and be like, oh, should I get a shoe rack or do you want to get it? That type of thing.
And if your university is close, like if you're going to somewhere in state or like in the same city as you, then you can even, I think, like go check it out beforehand. Book like a university housing tour. Some schools offer that, so you can take a look before you even get there.
Great idea. Let's move on to Frosh Week, which is the first week of school. So Frosh Week is fun. I found it to be a little much because I'm not really someone with a lot of school spirit, but even though it's a little cringy, you have to participate because you will meet so many people. And it's really important to meet people in the first, like, I would say 2 to 3 weeks of school because it's crazy. Like, everyone is so friendly. I've never met a friendlier group of people than university Frosh Week. Like, it's actually crazy. Everyone talks to each other. in class people would like turn around and introduce themselves. I'm like, this is weird. But then after the first month, no one speaks to you in class ever again, from my experience.
Interesting. And what exactly happens during Frosh Week? Like, are there events, or is it mostly just people going out and stuff?
A lot of events, like kind of cringy events. Like you have to wear certain colored shirts, and they like wake you up early, and I don't know, pep rallies, that type of stuff. It's a lot of school spirit.
Oh my God, imagining you at a pep rally wearing like your purple Western University shirt kills me. That's so not you.
It's really not me, but I did participate, and I actually went to my friends' like Frosh Week activities from the residence that I got kicked out of, because my residents didn't really have anything that exciting, so I participated in their stuff, which was good because I met all of her friends, my friend Sid. I actually didn't even know her at the time, but we met that week and then became friends, and she introduced me to a lot of people, so that was really helpful. But I think even if you think it's cringe, you need to go and, put your energy in, put your effort in, and meet people and be friendly. It's kind of hard, but you have to just do it.
And I feel like if everyone around you is doing it, it's easier to, because it's difficult, of course, to walk up to a group of people that already know each other and introduce yourself. But if you recognize that everyone else is in the same position where they don't know anyone and they're just looking to meet people, then it's a bit easier to do.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's actually great if you're an introvert, because people will talk to you and then you just have to like continue the conversation, which is not that hard. So you don't have to like go tap someone on the shoulder and be like, hi, I'd like to introduce myself to you. Usually people are like looking around and being friendly and including people. Obviously there's exceptions to that. I think there's always some people who are like rude and don't want to make new friends. But I think that's usually people that had friends going in.
Right. People that are going to a school where they know a lot of people.
Exactly. So I think just be nice to everyone and be open. Don't have like preconceived notions of people or groups or the school or Frosh Week or anything. Just like have an open mind, and you'll probably have the best experience. All right. Next, living in residence and all the things that come with like your first year of university away from home. So like we discussed earlier, I think it requires a lot of discipline to be like your own boss. Like,
oh God,
you're a boss girl.
Never say that again.
Like you are the boss of yourself, because your parents, they don't know what you're doing. I'm sure they actually do care, but they don't know. They're not checking up on you. They don't know. They don't have a camera to see what you're doing. Maybe. I don't know. But they can't tell you what to do. Your teachers also like just don't care. So you need to be disciplined. And I guess that's if you want to do well in school. You have to go to class, do your homework, do the readings, don't party every single night. Or if you do, like make sure you get up and go to class. Like I think there has to be some sort of like school/fun socializing balance, which is hard to find.
Yes. We talked a bit about that earlier, but for sure. I have a few questions about classes specifically.
Okay.
I don't want to rush you if you're planning on getting there, though. Are you going to talk about classes?
Well, classes is our next heading, so if you'd like to skip ahead.
Sure. I'd like to skip ahead.
Sorry, just one more thing about discipline.
Okay.
I feel like everyone talks about like the freshman 15, and I don't want to say it's inevitable, but there's a ton of like unhealthy food available. I was just like pretty disciplined. Like I would eat, obviously, like I'm not really a pizza person, but I would eat like candy and stuff, but just like I didn't overdo it. And also once you do it, or like you see it's always available to you, it doesn't like have power over you. I'm just like, okay, if I want candy, I can have it tonight or I can have it tomorrow, because it's always going to be there.
Right.
But also if you do gain weight in first year, just know that it's fine and your life will go on, and you'll eventually balance out to a weight that you feel great at. So I think that we need to just like not stress about it as much. I feel like there's a lot of like discussion about that in the college discourse when people are talking about going away. And it's maybe because it's in pop culture a lot. I feel like people just talk about freshman 15. And it's not a myth, but I think that it's not inevitable.
Right. It's like, it's totally in your power. I mean, maybe less so when you get to university. I don't really know what the options are like there. Like, do most people have a dining plan where you have to eat at school, or how does that work?
We did. I think I ate all my meals in the cafeteria, but there were always like some options that were healthier. Maybe they weren't like the best tasting, but I always had like yogurt and salad and like some healthier grab and go things. Like I think where you get into trouble is the late night, like 2 o'clock in the morning. They serve like a second dinner, and that's when you end up just like eating. They have like chicken fingers and pizza and ice cream.
That sounds ideal. They get you when you're at your weakest, when it's 2 and you want to be asleep and you're like, I'm just going to have everything. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely like really hard. So that I think is where the issue lies, because at least at my school the food was fine, but I know maybe some schools the food is not great, so it's hard. It is hard to eat healthy in first year. But like also, like we said, like don't put so much pressure on yourself. There's a lot going on and you're adjusting to a lot of new things, so I think that you just have to be a little nicer to yourself and just understand that things are going to be okay. Okay, so let's move on to classes. I know you had some questions. Do you want me to say my tips first and then you can ask your questions?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I would recommend asking around to your friends or anyone that you know that went to the school for professors that they recommend, because there's always like a few star professors that people have like they love, or there's like a general consensus that the professors are great. You can also look on Rate My Professor, or I think even Reddit could be really helpful. I always would like look professors' names up and see what people said. And then my last tip is look at a map of your school, especially if you go to a big school, because if you have back-to-back classes, they usually will leave like 10 minutes between classes, which is not enough time to get from like one end of campus to another if you're at a big school like I was. So I would be like sprinting with my bags, like running, sweating, getting to my next class, and I was always late, so I probably wouldn't do that. I would like try to put classes closer together if I had known, especially that was more like, was that first year or second year? I don't even remember, but look at a map and try to like group classes together in the same location if you have more than one class a day.
Okay, so one of my questions was, which classes do you suggest taking? Like what time of day, what days of the week? How did you figure all of that out?
Well, I think you need to kind of know yourself. Like, are you someone that does well in the mornings at 8 a.m.? Or are you someone who wants to do like a nighttime class 6 to 9 p.m.? I personally hate nighttime classes. I found them to be like so hard to get to, because especially in the winter, it's like pitch black at 6 p.m. and like I could not drag myself to a nighttime class. And I am probably more of a morning person, so I think a great time for me would be like 10 a.m., 9:30, 10 a.m. And then once I'm like on campus, I like to just get my classes done. So I'll do like 3 back to back and then be done. Another thing I sometimes would do would be like do 2 classes in the morning, go to the gym from like 12 to 1. You can like do gym or lunch or both, and then do your afternoon classes to kind of like have a break. And it's also fun to coordinate with a friend if you can, because then you have someone to like have lunch with or whatever it is, have a break with. And it just makes the day feel more enjoyable. I'd always try to meet up with people at like Starbucks or at the gym, just to, make the day fun and get through it more easily. And what else was your question? What, other than what time?
Like what day of the week do you suggest? Are there weekend classes, and does anyone do them if there are?
I don't think that there's weekend classes. Definitely no Sundays. I don't remember about Saturdays. I think it's Monday to Friday. But that's such a weird thing that I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it's just Monday to Friday. Oh my gosh, now I don't know. I feel like there might have been Saturday. No. Exams are on Saturdays. Classes are Monday to Friday, I think.
That's so random. Exams on a Saturday?
Yeah, definitely there were Saturday exams. And I think that your day also is personal preference. Like if you're going to want to go out on Thursday night, maybe you don't want to do a Friday 8 o'clock a.m. class.
Right.
But then other days of the week, usually like you're fine, because it just depends also if you have a job, extracurriculars, stuff like that. You have to coordinate your whole schedule.
Okay, one last question around classes, and that is it better to have a lot of classes in a few days, or to have like a few classes each day?
For me, I prefer to have a few classes each day because I'm the type of person who wants something to do. Like, I do much better if I have something to get up for like a 10 a.m. class, and then my day started. I can go to the gym, I can go to the library, I can, get work done. But if I had nothing to do all day and I was just sitting in my little res room, I probably would start to go crazy. So I would probably recommend spreading them out. And I also don't like feeling so exhausted by having an 8-hour school day. I think that's how I perform best. But again, it's something that you kind of need to know in yourself. Maybe you want your weekends or your Thursday to Monday free so you can travel or go home on the weekend. I actually did that one year. I kept my Fridays and Mondays free so I could go home for 4 days. So totally personal preference, but also you have way less choice in first year than you do in fourth year. So by the time you're in fourth year, you have everything figured out, and you can also really customize your schedule based on, first of all, what classes you want to take and when they're offered.
Okay.
Yes. And a few more things about school before we wrap this episode up. I think you really need to look at the course syllabus. Do you have course syllabi, however you say the plural of that, in high school?
I think we do. I've never actually looked at one of mine, but I'm pretty sure they're available to us.
The course syllabus was really helpful, at least at my school, because we would have all the dates when everything was due. So you could look towards your final exam or your final essay, which is in May. You could see exactly when, maybe not exam, you couldn't see when that was, but you could see when your 40% of your grade essay was due. And that's something that you could start to think about. Also, they would have all the readings in there. So I think I might have told this story on the podcast before, but I would go to class and be like, what are these people talking about? How do they all know about this movie or this book? And I didn't know that in the syllabus it said what you had to read or watch every week. So if you want to be prepared for class, it's helpful to look at the syllabus. I think also just in general, knowing that you should go to class, you should do the work, it will make your life easier, because if you don't, you still have to take the exam and you'll be cramming. I'm not really a crammer, so that was my best experiences were always when I prepared in advance and I did the readings and was actually ready for the exam rather than learning a whole course or teaching yourself a whole course right before. I feel if you don't go to class, you never you tell yourself that you'll do something else productive, but it probably would have been better just to go to class so that you don't have to catch up later.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that it all goes back to what we were saying earlier about being disciplined and knowing what you should do, what will benefit you the most, and then doing that thing. But I guess we'll see if it's as easy done as it is said next year when I go to university.
It's definitely not easy, but I think that, anything that's worth it takes some work. So I think that you're also a good rule follower, so you'll be fine. You'll be good.
True. Yeah, I can't imagine not going to class. That would be weird for me.
I mean, I definitely skipped a few classes. I'm not going to lie. I definitely didn't go to all my classes. But whenever I skipped, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just gone because now I'm going to have to read the stupid textbook anyways and teach myself when I could have just sat there, been on my phone. It's not like I was paying attention to every second. But at least if you're sitting there, you're absorbing the info. It's a bit better.
Yeah. So, kids, go to class.
Go to class. Don't be like me. No, I'm just kidding. I went to most of them. All right, guys. Well, that was a very long episode. I think we might have to split this into 2 parts. So we'll see. But thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two. Lauren?
Yes, I definitely learned a thing or two. And if you guys have any other questions about anything that we talked about this week or anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, feel free to leave us a call. Our number will be in, what is it called? I'll have the description box.
Notes.
In the show notes down below. So take a look. Give us a call.
Give us a call. We want your reactions to this week's episode, also your thoughts on university in general. So please leave us a voicemail and we'll play them at the beginning of next week's episode.
Yeah.
Wait, Lauren.
What?
You have to tell us where you're going to school.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Good catch.
Drum roll, please.
USC.
Woo!
Yes. Okay. I think, 99.9% sure I'll be going to University of Southern California next year. That could change. I have 6 days to make my decision, so I don't think it will, but I think I'll be going to USC.